Call the police. Okay. This happened last night. I have terrible neighbors. They like to get drunk and fight. They will fight anyone, each other, or even come after my children or myself. Well, last night was no exception. They were getting rowdy and hollering. I am so sick of it. They were throwing stuff into the road, playing in traffic, screaming, making a scene. I am not feeling great, so I was in bed with the window open. I turned on my lamp, got up to the window to close it, and they saw me. Of course, that started a new round of yelling obscenities at me. I just shook my head. The window is quite big and heavy, and like I said, in not feeling great, so it was taking some time to close. She yelled something along the lines of, "You enjoying the show? Why don't you record this? Your security camera's not working? Why don't you call the police if you really want to see a show?" I had no intention of involving myself, I just wanted to not hear them. But then I remembered my internet was down, and my security cameras weren't working ATM. So I propped up a spare phone on my window and started recording while I called the police. Per their request, I gave the police a play-by-play, which they could clearly hear in the background, their names and the address. Within a few short minutes there were several police cars surrounding their place and mine. The woman ran inside to hide, the man ran to his van to drive off, and the two children were roaming my front yard in just their underwear. I knew they have small children, but had assumed they were in bed because I hadn't seen or heard them. Did I mention it was 9:30 to 10 p.m. and raining? Police took them all away. Kids were loaded up as well. This isn't the first time, but really hoping it was the last time. At least for the kids' sake. TLDR, neighbors were causing a ruckus, saw me closing a window thinking I was watching when I was just trying to sleep in peace, told me to call police, they were arrested and the kids were taken. Hopefully the kids get taken and adopted in a loving home so they have a chance to grow into stable adults. The parents need counseling, clearly. Call the police every time they are disturbing the peace, drunk, and or putting the kids in danger, or you see neglect. Every single time. This helps build a case for Child Protective Services to come in and possibly remove the children. Child Protective Services will review all of the police reports and make a recommendation. You might want to call Child Protective Services yourself. Good luck. You ultimately did the right thing for the children. The authorities will try to find family to take them in before they go to foster care. I work closely with my local agency, and that is the way they work. I have been in many very loving foster homes as well. The bad ones are out there, no doubt, but so are the good ones, but no one ever talks about them. Find a new job. Okay. I've been working as a civil servant in the United States for about 4 years now. Last year, I celebrated my 3-year anniversary working in the same office. But I had been doing the same exact job all of those years, which I've enjoyed. I was ready to do different workload. Because I'm a civil servant, I have plenty of job opportunities within my job series that do all kinds of different things. I also need to change the workload I'm doing to gain a breadth of experience in my career to qualify for higher paying positions. I spoke to my supervisor and my career goals and asked what I could do to broaden my experience. He asked for time to think about it and came back a few weeks later saying that he knew some other organization's supervisors who he could ask for a trade, an employee swap, 1-for-1. I had my doubts that someone would agree to that, but figured it was better than nothing. A few weeks pass, and I followed up with him a couple times without response. So I go to his office to ask about it. He dismissively said that nobody had anybody willing to trade 1-for-1, so he recommended I search on my own for a different position if I still felt strongly about it. So I did, starting that day. Within 4 months I landed another position in the supply chain, which would give me more breadth of experience, and gave him my 2 weeks. Then, all of a sudden, he and his boss were frantically trying to find something within that organization to move me like I had asked for months before. Guess what? Too late. Got a great supervisor who's held several meetings with me, about monthly on average, specifically to help me prepare myself for my next move into a better paying seat. He really wants me to move into supervision, but I think I'll pass for now, until I can max out my non-supervisory pay scale first. Then I can move into supervision at a much higher pay if I decide I want to do so. Now, supervisors' pay scales are not nearly as easy to climb as it is for non-supervisory pay scales. It's always good to see a boss who wants his employees to succeed. He was counting on you being lazy. The mere fact that you were looking to shore up your resume rather than coast in your current position should have told him differently. Job stagnation at lower levels is the bane of civil service because it blocks the lower rungs to bring in entry-level workers, and starves the upper ranks of candidates with the years of agency knowledge that is critical to agency continuity. We see it daily in ours. I often explain that when my brother quit, boss asked him why he didn't ask for a raise, and the secretary answered he did twice. An excellent employee is a sign of a good mentor, manager, supervisor. Why can't people recognize that? You want the manager? Sure. I own an auto detailing business. During the height of the pandemic, I lost maybe 5% of my business, as it's mostly high-end cars, owned by the semi-wealthy, or better yet, their kids. Anyhow, I have 2 employees. One who is the supervisor and the other that is a trainee. I still work 90% of jobs to assist, as they are both still in training. Had a new customer a year or so ago who wasn't happy and demanded of ME to see the manager. I call over the supervisor, who proceeds to tell her exactly what I told her. She shrieked, asking, "Why are you just repeating your employee?" He just says, "That's the owner. He's my boss." She got mad that I passed her off to someone lower than myself. So I just said, "You wanted to see the manager. And he's the one in charge of the trainee when I'm not here, so he's the closest thing to a manager." That ended it pretty quick, LOL. "See you next time, ma'am." She did say, "the manager," and not "your manager," LOL. It would have been fun to give her your business card, and hang around while she calls. "Excuse me, I have to take this call." That is fantastic. I once had a marketing person come into my business asking to speak with manager. I asked if I could help and she told me, "No, didn't you hear me?" It was fantastic when I heard our manager saying, "Oh, you met the owner," as I was walking away. Oops.